Hi, I'm Felicia, but most people call me Fee. You may have seen me in action doing makeup on some of your favorite celebs, or even showing you a glimpse of motherhood from my perspective. Whether I'm doing a MindfulFee rant or just encouraging people online, I always try and keep it real. This is me, MindfulFee, everyone's homegirl. Money, 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 the conversation that a lot of people are very uncomfortable talking about. I mean, think about it. We're afraid to talk about a piece of paper. I think as young entrepreneurs, business owners, and artists, we can't be so afraid of this taboo topic. Especially in business, you cannot be afraid to talk about money. I know for myself, unfortunately, I used to be very afraid to talk about it. I didn't know how to put a price tag on my worth until I met my homegirl, Audrey. She's my accountant, and she opened up my mind to me starting my own business as a freelance artist. I think it's a very slept on topic about managing money and how to put a price tag on your worth. So let's go get some tips from Audrey. So girl, thank you so much for joining me. I think the topic of money is a very big thing that people are afraid to talk about for some reason. Well, I kind of get the reason a little bit. You probably know more than me. So I want you to introduce your lovely self.
Okay. I am Audrey. I go by Dreezy Love, and I also just go by Mama because I'm a mother. I own 2 businesses. One of them is an accounting service-based firm, and then I have a jewelry designing creative platform that I am brewing up. That's it. Actually, now that I think about it,
it's a lot.
It's a lot, but
it's a lot still.
It's a lot.
And this is your very first interview on camera.
This is my first interview.
I'm so excited that you chose me to say yes to.
Aww.
Yeah, I think, like I said, you have a lot of information and have helped me so much in my business continuously. If you need your taxes done, holla at Audrey. Link below. Right? Yeah. little plug.
Yeah.
So to start, I want to talk about the importance of being an entrepreneur, business owner, young artist. I think that we're always dancing in this space of not understanding our worth when we have our art because we love to do it, right? So can you explain to me a little bit of your perspective on your accounting services that you offer when it comes to dealing with day-to-day artists?
Well, that's interesting because that's really the route that I'm looking to maximize on, which is the creative realm. Like most to all of my clients are creatives, and that's who I really want to target because I understand having a creative business, the difference in mentality that it does take to be an entrepreneur. You know, I think a lot of times people get caught up in just the creative aspect of it. You're doing what you love, it feels good, you're doing it, but there's a whole admin, organized aspect to being an entrepreneur that comes along with being a creative entrepreneur. You know what I mean? Right. So I think that's usually the hurdle that a lot of creatives get to before they even start to think of how much should I be charging for myself? How much should I be valuing what my offerings are? And that's just a whole nother realm that I think is so important because you have to know your worth and you have to visualize what it is that you want to your lifestyle to be. So for me personally, I knew before I actually went full-time entrepreneur, full-time self-employed, that we were going to start working on having a child. So given that mentality, I'm like, what do I want? What do I want it to look like? You were a huge inspiration because I remembered you mentioning, I want Peace to be able to come to work with me. I want to be able to bring my child with me. And so from that, I really identified, I want to have this type of lifestyle. I want to have the flexibility. I want to have the time. I want to be able to homeschool my child, be home with my child, take my child with me when it makes sense, you know?
For sure.
So I really started from a point of how much was I making when I was working for somebody else? What was I doing? And I was doing accounting, so it was really easy for me to mirror what that looks like, which I know will look different for different entrepreneurs and different creatives, you know? But
was it hard for you to learn to value yourself? Like putting a price tag on it, being that you started out, first you're an artist, right? And then you think about opening the idea of, oh, let me start a business, you know? How were you able to put a price tag on exactly what it was that you're doing?
I'm still doing that. Like the trip is I'm still coming, I put it on in my journal. Like every year, this time of the year, I'm gonna reevaluate what I'm charging, what I've learned through this year, how my expertise has changed. And I think that just goes along with having that organization of thought. Like, let me track this stuff so that I can have a better understanding and comfortability comfortability with what I am charging.
Right.
So at the beginning, I felt good with charging less than I knew I should have charged, just because I was like, I'm just getting my feet wet. I don't know that I feel the confidence in my knowledge to charge, you know, the maximum amount that people would charge for what I offer as far as accounting goes. You know?
Right.
So I started at a rate that I felt comfortable with, but after the year passed and I understood that I have way more expertise, I understood that I was providing so much more peace of mind to my clients than I had anticipated, then that's when I was able to reevaluate. Like, my worth is more than what I'm charging.
Right.
And I was comfortable increasing my rates.
Right.
You know?
And then what about the perspective from an accountant to an artist? You know, like, do you notice that a lot of the freelance artists that you're dealing with, like, don't know how to manage money, that they're so into the creative that nobody is doing this budgeting and managing the money overall?
Yeah, that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, I really want to focus on creatives, because
Yeah.
I did notice just even keeping track of how much you're spending through the year seems to be a huge challenge for creatives.
Yeah.
Because again, creatives are pleasure-based.
Yeah.
They want to do the shit that's fun.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
for sure.
Keeping track of your numbers and how much you're making probably is fun, but how much you're spending is less fun.
Right.
Keeping track of your receipts and putting it in an Excel sheet so you have it at the end of the year is less fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, I'll be emailing you like, Audrey, I'm sorry, I can't
But
deal with
I
that.
do it 'cause
I'm
I like to do
my
it.
My brain doesn't work that way, you know? But I think a lot of artists and creatives we get in that space
Exactly.
of like, my brain doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it's
you know?
not uncommon.
Yeah,
and so
no.
that's what I'm constantly telling my clients, like, don't worry. You know what I mean? That's why we're here. That's why we're doing this, because we were meant to help each other in the ways that pertain to our strengths.
Right.
You know what I mean? One of my strengths is to keep track of shit.
Right.
That's just what I like to do, just by nature.
Right.
So given that and understanding that I went to school for accounting, I worked and had a full-time job in accounting and all of that, it really just brought me to that place of understanding, like, and I had a mentor just put it very clear.
Yeah.
Whatever is super easy for you to do that is super challenging for anybody else, that's your lane. That's what you should be focusing on.
Do you feel like artists, even business owners just across the board, do you feel like they get uncomfortable with the idea of somebody else managing their money?
I do.
Yeah.
I haven't experienced that. Personally,
You
I
have a
feel
very trustworthy energy
that's
about
what I
you,
was
for
gonna
sure.
say. I feel like my energy off top comes off very loyal and trusting.
Absolutely.
And I think because I am very referral based also, that automatically just puts in
Yeah.
another level of trust, you know? But I do understand, because I've also had clients who have had issues with accountants in the past.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I've heard stories of accountants doing things that they're not supposed to be doing and
Right.
stealing and all of that. So I understand where
Yeah.
that comes from. And that's why I feel like you don't go Googling accountant, Like, you need to really fill them out energetically.
Yeah.
You need to make sure you're aligning, know how they live in. You know what I'm saying? Like, get an aspect of their personal life, because then you'll have clarity as to whether or not you have trust with
Yeah.
this person when it comes to your money.
That's good advice, for sure. It's funny, sometimes when I think about you, I'm like, dang, Audrey knows more information about me than Gavin does. I'm like, she knows my social security, she knows my address, she could really steal my whole entire identity.
For real.
But I'm like, but I feel so trusting, you know what I mean? And like I said, I keep saying that I feel like you definitely help me understand it's important as an artist to have a business, you know what I mean? So she literally helped me go downtown, start a business under Fee Enterprise, and anything artistic fell underneath that umbrella to where I'm able to do other things and maximize, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. I want to talk about the importance of, just because you are an artist or creator, the importance of still having a business model on the back end, just for tax purposes.
Yeah.
Let's say you want to buy something, get a credit card, like, talk about the importance of those things.
Okay. I feel like the overall encompassing factor that is super important is just organization.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, once you start to work for yourself, there's a whole another level of discipline that comes with regards to being organized.
Yeah.
So I feel like with you going to do that and taking that first step to set up your business and the entity of which it's going to be, so that you have now established, I am a business, it is real. This is what it's known as, and it includes all of the following offerings. That just sets the tone. You know what I mean? It sets this tone. It starts to lift your standard, because now you're not just out here playing games. Like, you're doing it for real.
Yeah.
You've established something that now, if you want to go get an EIN number and hire employees, you can do it legitimately, and you have documentation and you have the formalities set up. So
and the proof, like the proof of income.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly. And so I feel like having that is the first step. Definitely want to establish, what does my entity look like? And I feel like you want to outline all your offerings. And that's what we did. We sat down, what all does Felicia do? What are all the creative offerings that you have? So then we can establish what this entity is going to look like. Is it going to be sole proprietor? Is it going to be LLC? You know? And that's where you communicate with an accountant like myself, so that you can get better understanding of the entities and what they all look like, so that you can really connect the dots and put together a structure that makes sense for your vision. You know, because it looks different all across the board for all creatives. And so we did that. We now have everything in place so that if you want to further just level up, you have set the foundation. And that's super important.
Yeah, and I've started to feel more legit, like, oh, okay, I can walk a little higher. And then not thinking of the back end of like, okay, I'm staying artistic, but knowing darn well I need to sit down with somebody and do my taxes, or like, you know, just that whole is tedious to me.
And so,
but there's people like
the taxes, that's what I'm saying. You want to make sure you have everything in place, because taxes are real. Like, once you start working for yourself, it becomes even more real, because you don't have an employer handling all these things that come to your reality at tax time, which are taxes, you know, payroll taxes and estimated taxes. Like, they got a whole bunch of taxes.
But okay, so also, not to cut you off, but that reminds me of the question that I want to ask is, when you're an artist and you don't have, you know, Social Security coming out every month, like if you have a regular 9-to-5 job. So how do you plan? I don't know if it's like a financial plan of, how do I save for my retirement? Because that day is gonna come, and then you're getting your checks coming in. You never know when it's gonna stop, when something can happen to you. So how would you recommend people setting up some type of retirement when you work for yourself? Is there like a thing that it's called?
There are like simple 401ks that you can establish as a self-employed person. And so it looks just like the ones you would get if you were under an employer, and they had it set up already. You just sign the papers and start having the money taken out of your check to be contributed to your 401k. You would just be making those payments on your personal level to a 401k plan that you know is established for self-employed people. And that's super important, because going back to the taxes, the reason you want to be organized is so you can identify everything that you can write off. Things like that you can write off. So if you're making a lot of money for the year, my goal is, as your tax planner and as your tax preparer, is to lessen your taxes that you're going to owe at the end of the year. And so I'm trying to find all of the deductions and all of the credits that you can get. Contributions to a 401k are a huge deduction that wealthy people utilize, because you can contribute like $35,000 for the year. That's $35,000 of your money that's not getting taxed, but it's still your money. You know what I mean? So these are like the practices that you can now get into once you've gotten a foundation of organizing your information, and again, getting to that level of real entrepreneurship. So speaking of wealth and generational wealth, I want to talk about life insurance. This is a topic that a lot of people don't like to talk about, because I do think that they relate it to death. You know, I mean, it's the reality. You's gonna die, I's gonna die, we all gonna die. But I don't think a lot of people understand that when you do get life insurance, obviously there's so much benefits in like your family and all these things, and a lot of generational wealth comes out of doing life insurance. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Yes. I actually just signed up for life insurance with Gerber Life for / college plan, but I feel like
I need you to send me that, okay?
I'll send it.
Anything you do, just tell me, because I'm trying to do everything that you tell me to do.
I'll send it. I feel like it's really about understanding the whys versus the associations.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like, yeah, somebody died. We get that. beyond that, can you think of what that looks like?
Right.
There are expenses. There are things that come up because of whoever died. If that person was, the head of household and was the one predominantly bringing in the income, now what does that look like when this person is gone? So the life insurance is a huge thing, like you said, that wealthy people utilize, because you legit don't even end up paying into it the amount that you end up getting. So there's like a cash value associated with it also, in most cases. And
I don't think a lot of people understand that part. That there is a cash value associated to the life insurance policies.
Yeah, because you're getting a lump sum of money now because this person has passed away. You might be getting $50,000, $100,000, and you might have only paid in $60,000. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things. It protects you. It protects your family. It helps with the ease when somebody passes away, and it's not that expensive to get set up.
Thank you guys for tuning in again, and I hope that you learned a lot of money management tools from Audrey. We will see you guys next time.
Hey.